Esawa eriemu yennyini ey'Akawungeezi mbaniriza nnyo banafe abakozi ba kampuni ya mukwano abasoba mu 5 basibye bawotofu olunaku olwaleero oluvannyuma lwa Kampala Capital City Authority okuggalawo ekkolero lino ng'era nga balikulira butagoberera mateeka gafuga butonde bwansi. Emitiyana omusobozi omu awonedde watono nnyo okugajambulwa songa n'amasundiro g'amafuta agawera golekedde okuggalwa wano mu Kampala. Bino n'ebiri mu ddwaliro e Somalia omusasi waffe Frank Walusimbi gyali mu kiseera kino bye tugenda okukutuusaako mu mawulire gaffe Akawungeezi ka leero. Gino gye mitwe emirala emikulu egigalimu. KCCA ekaye egaddewo ekkolero lya mukwano abakozi 5 batangadde. Ekirwadde ky'olukusense abaana kumpi obukadde 7 beba okugemebwa. Abalina amasundiro g'amafuta bo bakeeredde agasinga mu Kampala gakuggalwa tegatuukagana na bisaanyizo. Enkambi ya Cranes ezzeemu eddibu Massa afunye obuvune. Oliku NTV Akawungeezi nze Hatimana Lugwa Sekaya. Mukaweefube w'okukuuma obutonde bw'ensi Kampala Capital City Authority enkyayalere gaddewo ekkolero lya mukwano erisangibwa okumpi n'ekitebe ky'eggaali y'omukka. Obuzibu obuvuddeko ekkolero lino okuggalwa gwe mukka ogulivaamu KCCA gwegamba nti gwa bulabe nnyo eri abantu n'ebimera ebiri mu kifo kino. Okutuusa nga batereezezza ebibalagiddwa KCCA mukwano kati tekkirizibwa kufulumya kintu kyonna mu kiseera kino. Ekkolero lino libadde likola ebintu bingi omuli sabbuuni, butta afumba, ebizigo ne kalondo omulala mungi nnyo ddala. Abakulu okuva mu KCCA batuuse ku kkolero lya mukwano ku ssaawa 12 enkyaleero era basoose kugaanibwa kuyingira.
Are you obstructing justice? We are not obstructing. What are you doing? It is only just that I see we are waiting for our seniors. Should we call it double standards? Not double standards. But again, why are you blocking us from entering? We are not blocking you guys. We are waiting for us seniors. They give us the direction. Which direction? Because the letters are not issued to us.
Oluvannyuma bakkiriziddwa okuyingira era amangu ddala basabye emirimu giyimirizibwe n'ebyuma bigibweko.
You go with him. Make sure the switches are off the machine. Go with him. Make sure the switches off the machine. Or else the first start.
Kino tekibadde kyangu era amasimu gayitinganye ng'abakozi beebuuza ku bakama baabwe naye n'aba KCCA balemeddeko okutuusa ebyuma lwe bijjiddwako. Enfunda 2 mu mwezi ogwokusatu aba KCCA balagira Mukwano Industries etereza ensonga y'omukka okuva mu kkolero lyabwe naye kino babadde tebannakimaliriza.
Ekyo mpozi baakolako ne bawanvuya pipe emu tugenza okwesanga pipes endala tebannaziwanvuya ate ng'omukka gukyali mungi nnyo ogugenda mu bantu.
So Mukwano has undertaken that we will take the remedial erection of the second chimney stack.
Olw'ensonga nti offices ezo ze balina zicoordinatinga offices endala eza Mukwano zo tuzikkiriza zikole naye nga bonna bakozi bo bayimiridde tebakkirizibwa okujjako bana bali mu offices mpozi ne warehouse olw'ensonga nti waliwo ebintu bibadde balina okutwala okusupplyinga ezo nazo tukyaziguddewo naye other production units zonna factory parts endala eziproducinga zonna tuziclosinze okulaba nga mukwano etereeza ekigendera si kubanga tubabonyabonya kubanga abantu baffe batuyamba naye ekigendera okulaba nga community ebanga terwala oba tefuna buzibu obuva mu ebintu bino ebiva mu kwano.
Kigambibwa era nti amazzi agamu agava wano gagenda butereevu mu mwala gwa Nakivubo nga ne kino balagiddwa bakikoleko.
Buli factory yonna fulumya omukka nga gugenda mbantu obeeyiwa ebintu mu myala gyaffe egenda kugalwa.
Tujja giggulawo ng'ebisaanyizo biteredde nga ffenna aba KCC ne NEMA tuli basanyufu.
Okutuusa ng'ensonga zino zikoleddwako abakozi abasoba mu 5 bakugira nga basigale waka.
Eyo nga tuvuddeyo minisitule y'ebyobulamu erangiridde enteekateeka ez'okugema abaana ekirwadde ky'olukusense ne polio ebirabika nga ate bisitudde buto enkundi. Okugema kuno kw'ekikungo kwakubaawo wakati w'ennaku z'omwezi 26 na 28 omwezi guno mu ggwanga lyonna. Obuwumbi 20 bwe bugenda okukozesebwa mu kampeyini eno egenda okutongozebwa ku lw'omukaaga luno mu disitulikiti y'e Padel.
Take all your children for immunization on Saturday 26th, Sunday 27th, and Monday 28th of May 2012.
Mu Desemba omwaka oguwedde minisitule y'ebyobulamu yalangirira ng'ekirwadde ky'olukusense bwe kiwalusibwa mu buvanjuba amasekkati n'obugwanjuba bwa Uganda. District 11 ze zaali ziwambiddwa naye nga kati kizuuse nti zeeyongedde ziwerera ddala na 6 nga mwotwalidde ne Kampala. Alipoota ziraga nti abakakwatibwa bali 52 so nga abakafa bali 33. Kino okusinga kiteereddwa ku nnamba y'abaana abatagemeddwa okweyongera nga abazadde beekwasa ensonga ezitali zimu.
The Minister of Health wishes to assure the public that the vaccines for immunization against the vaccine-preventable diseases are effective and safe and have been approved by the World Health Organization.
Kampeyini ya luno yakuzingiramu okugema abaana abali okumpi mu bukadde 7. Kimanyiddwa era nti Uganda esenza abantu bangi ababundabunda okuva mu mawanga g'omuliraano omuli n'abaana bato nga nakino kyongedde ku buzibu bw'ekirwadde kino.
Of course, the measles vaccine doesn't know which country you come from, and as long as a child is in Uganda, we immunize all those children.
Obubonero bw'olukusense kuliko omusujja ogw'amaanyi, okubutuka omubiri, okutanaka n'ebirala. Obulwadde bw'olukusense butta abaana bali 7,777 buli mwaka mu nsi yonna ng'abasinga bali mu ssemazinga wa Africa. Obulwadde buno wabula busobola okwewalika singa abaana baba bagemeddwa.
Abazadde mwenna gye muli ndoza muwulidde nga 26 okutuuka nga 28 ffenna tukubirizibwa okutwala abaana baffe bagemebwe ebirwadde ebyo. Okweyongerayo amagye g'omukago gwa Africa okuva olunaku lw'eggulo gali mu kufaafaagana n'abajambula aba Al-Shabaab mu ggwanga lya Somalia. Amawulire agavaayo gategeezezza nti ensiitaano okusinga eri okuliraana ekibuga Afgoye amagye g'omukago mwe gaasiguukulula abajambula bano okusobozesa abantu mu kitundu kino okufuna ku buweerero. Omwogezi w'amagye ga UPDF Kano Felix Kulaije agamba nti abajambula abaweerera ddala 41 battiddwa n'emmundu zirwasa mayinja 11 ne zibawambibwako. Omusasi waffe Frank Walusimbi ali mu ddwaniro era kayongereze ku bino naddala ng'embeera bw'eri kati.
Embeera mu Somalia okutwalizaamu abantu bulijjo bamanyi nti Mogadishu mwe musinga okubeera okulwana naye ku mulundi guno ekibuga Mogadishu kikakamu ojjukira aba AMISOM bakyeza amagye ga AMISOM bakyeza okuva ku Al-Shabaab kyonna ku nkomerero y'omwaka oguwedde. Kati okulwana okuliwo kuli wabweru wa Mogadishu waliwo ekitundu ekiyitibwa Afgoye. Kulajjo amagye ga AMISOM gasazeewo okutandika okununula ekitundu ekyo okuva ku ba Al-Shabaab. Batandise jjo ku makya era okulwanagana kwabadde kw'amaanyi ddala. Okusinziirako Force Commander Lieutenant General Andrew Guti yatugambye basse aba Al-Shabaab 4 olunaku lwajjo ate abasirikale ba AMISOM 3 ne balumizibwa. Naye olwaleero ndi Afgoye ndabyeko aba Al-Shabaab 2 abattiddwa. Omu ategeerekese nti abadde komanda naye erinnya lye bakyalinoonya abadde n'omukuumi we. Ekifo from okulwana kuno we kuli nsikonjerere okutwaliza wamu balina okugiyitamu batuuke mu kibuga Afgoyo ekibuga ekirimu abantu emitwalo 40 abakibeeramu amisom beeyagala okununula okubakuba Al-Shabaab kati ekyerereze ekyo kirimu nsiko obusaana okutwalizaamu bwekito wekifaanana tekirimu mizimbe nga Mogadishu bwe yali ekitegeeza nti aba amisom banguwa okugenda mu maaso bakiyita advancing olwaleero wano wetuli wali kilomita 11 okuva n'ekibuga Afgoyo naye nga bakomanda balowooza nti mu nnaku ntono nnyo bajja kuba bagguse ku kibuga Afgoyo bwe baneddiza Afgoyo bagenda kuba bagaddewo amakubo Al-Shabaab gebadde esinga okukozesa okuva mu bitundu by'e Kismayo Maruka n'eri wansi mu Afmado awali Kenya eyo luutu nene nnyo yamaanyi eri Afgoyo eri Al-Shabaab baada bagikozesa ne bayitamu okugguka eno ne baleeta kye bayita supplies omuli ebyokulwanyisa emmere oba oliawo n'ebintu ebirala bye baba beetaaga.
Frank Walusimbi ali mu ddwaniro Somalia era tugenda kubanga tubatuusaako buli kimu ekigenda mu maaso mu bitundu ebyo. Akakiiko ka Parliament akalondola ensimbi z'omuwi w'omusolo kalagidde omuwandiisi w'enkalakkalira mu Ministry y'ebyamasannyalaze n'obugagga obw'ensibo okuggalawo amasundiro gonna ag'amafuta mu Kampala agatatuukagana na bisaanyizo byetaagisa naddala bwe kituuka kukuuma obutonde bw'ensi. Akakiiko kategeezezza nti ku masundiro 25 agakkirizibwa mu Kampala amasundiro ga mirundi 3 gokka ge galina ebisaanyizo ebyetaagisa. Ababaka bagamba nti amasundiro g'amafuta gasusse okumeruka ng'obutiko buli lukedde ate nga n'olukusa luva mu bakungu ba gavumenti.
Naye ono musajja waffe Uganda obaawo obuyinza okulaba nti petrol stations zibeere mu myanya mu bifo ebibasalamu ye yazirese buzibeere buli wamu petrol station omuliro gujja kutukya ku lw'omusajja ono. Naye olwaleero nga Parliament twamugambye alina okulabira ddala ntarugeratinga ekintu ekyo bw'atakikola tujja kukimukolera mu manya gaffe.
Said they must give us a list of all the petrol stations and the proof that they complied with the law. Those who shall not comply with the law, they will be closed out.
Negguliro eryo katufune ku lwendo lw'amazzi oluvannyuma NTV Akawungeezi egenda kudda n'amawulire amalala mangi omuli ne gano. Okudduka entalo ababundabunda emitwalo 2 baddukidde mu Uganda. Abatuuze batabukidde omusuubuzi Emityana, ennyumba bagikonye, poliisi yemutaasizza.
This is NTV. 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 is NTV. This 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 is NTV.
NTV Akawungeezi kino kye kitundu kyaffe ekyokubiri. Gavumenti ya Uganda ewanjagidde amawanga g'ebweru okubaako ne kye gakolawo ku mbeera eri mu Democratic Republic of Congo ne mu bitundu bya West Nile eviiriddeko enkuyanja y'abantu okubundabunda. Gavumenti egamba nti singa amawanga agali mu mukago gw'obuvanjuba ne Africa gateekamu amaanyi okulongoosa embeera eriwo kati kijja kuyamba nnyo mu kugonjoola obuzibu buno.
Abantu mutwalo gumu 2,361 be bakayingira Uganda nga badduka okuva mu Democratic Republic of Congo n'abalala 1,700 okuva mu South Sudan nabo baddukidde Ajumani. Abasinga ku bano baana n'abakyala nga abasajja kirowoozebwa nti bakyasigaddeyo mu mawanga gaabwe okulaba embeera nga bweri. Enkambi nnya ziri mu bugwanjuba bwa Uganda mwe muteereddwa ababundabunda bano nga kuliko Nakivale omuli abantu 2,992, ey'Olukinga wali abantu 3,195, ey'Ekyakatumu mu Abakongo 1,949, so nga Lwamwanja naye eriyo abantu 5,232. Waliwo n'Abakongo abalala 641 abakyali Nyakabande we batuukira nga banabo balindiridde okutwalibwa mu nkambi zino. Ate bo abava mu South Sudan baabwe ettaka mu bitundu omuli Alere ne Zaipi mu district ya Ajumani. Gavumenti egamba nti abasirikale ba poliisi abasoba mu 200 bayiriddwa ekisolo bunagana ne Nyakabande okusobola okukuuma obutebenkevu. Ekitongole kya Red Cross nakyo kiriko abantu bannakyo bekiwandiisizza okusobola okuyamba abantu bano mu nsonga ezitali zimu. Abatuuze ku kyalo Misizi Emitiyana baliko mutuuze munnaabwe gwe banaabidde mu maaso ne bamugoba ku kyalo mu lukiiko lwe batuuzizza nga bamulanga kuba na byawongo mbwe bibadde bitandise n'okutta abantu ku kyalo ekyo.
Sandra Namugenyi omutuuze ku kyalo kuno era omusuubuzi omututumufu mu kibuga Mityana yakiguddeko batuuze bane bwe basinzidde mu lukiiko lw'ekyalo ne bamugoba ku kyalo nga bamulanga okuba n'ebyawongo ebibadde bitandise okubatta. Bano okutuuka okuva mu mbeera kiddiridde mutuuze munnaabwe Sarah Komugisha okwekubira endulu mu bakakiiko ak'ekyalo nga Namugenyi bwe yamusindikira amayembe agamusuza teyeebase era bw'atyo ssentebe kwe kutuuza olukiiko olw'amangu olusazeewo Namugenyi agobe ku kyalo.
Nalindyawo jjo ningenda mu basabirizi ng'ebintu byonna bintubira ddala omutwe nga gunfumitafumita ebintu kati nali nkyatuukawo nti wa pasita nangamba mwana gwe ng'ofa nga pasita ambuulira nti olina waliwo yali mukwano gwo ne mutabuka era ensonga y'okutabuka wamuwola ssente zo natayagala okusasula ennyumba bazitema ennyumba bagiggyeko
ng'agezaako okudduka kamera. Namugenyi yeegalidde mu nnyumba wabula abatuuze ne bagikoona-koona okutuusa lwegudde era bw'atyo n'addukira ku poliisi. Ye ssentebe w'ekyalo ategeezezza nti kati ensonga wa kuzitwala ku poliisi kuba ye zimusukkulumyeko.
Ebyo bibadde Mityana. Omukama wa Bunyoro atadde akata ku byamafuta. Musonyoko katono. Omukama wa Bunyoro atadde akaka ku byamafuta. Omukulu ono alabudde nti yandiwalirizibwa okukuba gavumenti mu mbuga z'amateeka lwa kugenda mu maaso na nteekateeka za kuyiikula bya bugagga ebiri mu kitundu kye kino naddala amafuta ng'ate tabawadde lukusa. Enkya ya leero omukama ategeezezza ssentebe w'akakiiko ka Parliament akabuuliriza ku byamafuta ga Uganda nti kampuni ensimi z'amafuta bye zikola e Bunyoro nga teziyise mu ye kuba kumenya mateeka.
Ssentebe w'akakiiko kano Michael Werike enkyaleero akyaliddeko omukama wa Bunyoro gafa busaiguru. Omukama abuulidde Werike byasirikira edda ku byamafuta.
Before you really talk about oil, you must talk to His Highness, the king of.
And that was the 1945 agreement.
Yes,
it was never done. We were supposed to be consulted. That was 1955 agreement. It is still valid.
Or with the colonial people?
Yes. Because my grandfather resisted colonialism, but he was defeated. And then my father made an agreement with the British.
Agamba nti gavumenti emwebuuzaako ku ky'obugagga kino wadde okusaba olukusa okusaalimbira mu kitundu kye.
And I would like this information to go through Parliament, so that people can know.
Guno gwe mulundi ogusoose okufuna abakulu okuva mu gavumenti wamu ne Parliament ya Uganda nga boogerako ku nsonga z'amafuta. Wano wasinzidde n'ataakaka era n'alabula gavumenti ya Uganda nti yandiwalizibwa okugitwala mu kkooti lwa kukkiriza amakampuni agasima amafuta e Bunyoro nga tebamwebuuzizzaako.
Nobody should come to Bunyoro Kingdom to do anything, even to acquire the land without consulting Bunyoro Kingdom. And it was signed.
And we have copies of those.
We have all the copies, yes. You see. So those people who are down there are illegal. If we take them to court, to international court, they are not supposed to be there.
Akakiiko kasisinkanye abaka bava e Bunyoro wamu n'ebitongole eby'obwannakyewa.
We request for a 10% share of the oil revenues to be shared amongst the regional government and the district local governments and the lower local governments within the entire Bunyoro region.
The local leaders and the civic organs have gone ahead to make reports to the office of the president that we are recruiting rebels, which is not true.
Abantu b'e Bunyoro banyiivu ku nsonga z'amafuta era bagamba nti gavumenti ebeebuuzaako ku mafuta gano. Kino gavumenti erina okuvaayo n'ekinogera eddagala. Jingo Francis, NTV Akawungeezi.
Webale nnyo Jingo Francis. Mu kiseera kino katugendeko mu katale k'ensimbi ate tulabe siringi ya Uganda nga bwekoze okusinziira ku ssente z'amawanga amalala. Tugenda kuddamu tuwummulemu katono ddala oluvannyuma ngenda kudda n'amawulire agava mu kisaawe ky'ebyemizannyo tovaawo.
This is NTV. 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 This is NTV.
NTV Akawungeezi n'amawulire agava mu kisaawe ky'ebyemizannyo. Abazannyi Godfrey Massa ne Mike Motiaba bawandise ku lukalala lw'abazannyi omutendesi Bobby Williamson babadde asuubira okusambisa mu mipiira 3 Uganda Cranes gyegenda okusamba mu mwezi gw'omukaaga mu Angola ne Nambole. Bano bombi kitegeezeddwa nga bwe balina obuvune obutajja kubasobozesa kuzannya mipiira gino.
Waddenga Geoffrey Massa y'omu ku bazannyi abeeyanjulirawo mu kutendekebwa kwa ttiimu ya Uganda Cranes ku bbalaza ya sabbiiti eno, olwaleero tasobodde kutendekebwa na ttiimu eno olw'obuvune mu VV. Massa yajja n'obuvune buno okuva mu ttiimu ye gy'asambire Cyprus, era nga wakuddayo ku lwokutaano lwa sabbiiti eno alongoosebwe VV. Massa yeegattiddwako omuzannyi Mike Mutiaba naye atagenda kujja olw'obuvune bwe yafunye ng'asambira ttiimu ye eya El Merik mu Sudaani. Mutiaba abadde asuubirwa okutuuka mu ggwanga ku nkomerero ya sabbiiti eno. Wabula ye Mudde Musa asambira mu Sofa Park ye Kenya olwaleero tatendekeddwa na ttiimu oluvannyuma lw'okusaba omutendesi awummulemu asobole okusuuka obuvune mu kugulu.
Tulina abazannyi 30 bwe banaabanga tebasobodde kusuuka buvune basobola okumisinga guno then oguddako ne bayamba banaabanga bali kavaneze bulungi ne fitness level yaabwe nga nnungi okusamba oguddako.
Mudde wa kutandika okutendekebwa ne ttiimu olunaku lw'enkya. Obuvune bwa Massa ne Mutyaba bwakuwaliriza omutendesi Bob Williamson okuyita Hamis Diego Kizza ne Geoffrey Serunkuma bye yali asudde. Sam Mpoza, NTV Akawungeezi.
Abalamula omuzannyo gwa pool balabuddwa ku kyobutazimula mateeka agafuga omuzannyo guno ngeno y'engeri yokka gye gusobola okukulaakulanamu wano mu ggwanga. Bino webijjidde nga ttiimu ez'enjawulo ziri mu kwetegekera mpaka za Uganda Open ezigenda okutandika ku nkomerero ya sabbiiti eno. Bano babadde mu musomo ogutegekeddwa okubabangula mu bukodyo bw'omuzannyo guno obutali bumu.
Waliwo olina okustrikinga guno omupiira, so in that way you miss the ball, it jumps over. This is what we call a jump shot. It happens especially when someone ayala kuba drop back, a sharp drop back, and then you strike the ball down and then unekola ki nebuuka. Abamwe banga miss tune, it's just that skill omuntu gyabatalina basically kuba mupiira guno bakusako kyoke mala.
Tutunuulira ebintu nga okukumaakuma abazannyi n'okumanaginga ebisuubizo byabwe oba bibasuubira. What they expect kubanga omuzannyi ayinza okuba nga asuubira okuwangula ate ne bamukuba emipiira naye ne yeewuunya ng'abadde amanyiwa akabi ate omuntu underdog najja n'amukuba kwegamba naaba nga sometimes abazannyi basobola okuluzinga emotions zaabwe naye ba umpire bano tubawa amagezi n'ebikola bye beetaaga okuhandlinga abazannyi ab'ekika ekyo n'okuhandlinga crowd.
Agebyemizannyo wano ku NTV bwe gatyo bwegabadde. Amawulire amalala nga bulijjo ssaawa 3 zennyini ez'ekiro era nga gano gagenda kubeera mu lulimi Olungereza. Ndi Hatman gwa Sekaya mbagaliza ekiro ekirungi. Temuva ku NTV mweraba.
This is NTV.
Welcome to this edition of the Art and Design Show. Coming up, we see sculpting taking on a U-turn. We experience a fashion warfare couture. And we see stories being told in form of dance. Stay tuned, the Art and Design Show starts now. There is more to sculpting than just what meets the eye. Sculpting burns down to a mixture of questions like how to design and germinate ideas, introduce technique and develop personal vision within a contemporary overview. We met with Robert Sawanyana, a lecturer at the School of Art in Makerere, as well as a sculptor. We asked him why he has chosen to do sculpting as compared to painting or other forms of art.
The world we are living in is a bit competitive. It's a market-driven economy. So, and for quite some time, people have, especially in Uganda, people didn't like the art we produce so much that the people who could afford that art are the people who are well-placed or organizations. And we have this other line of people who cannot afford the luxury of buying artworks. So I thought it would be much more catching to the society if I look at an aspect that would draw their attention. And that's incorporating the sculpture, which is purely a fine art, and the furniture.
Inspired by the real world, designed to utmost simplicity and built with a commitment, Robert's work portrays the perfectionism in art.
All around us we see beautiful things made by God. So every time I look out for a design, when I get to the table, I have to look at nature. If you look at works of Leonardo da Vinci, the times I take out to make drawings, if you look at that drawing, for example, it is something that I got inspiration from some of the drawings of Leonardo da Vinci. The sense of detail, the sense of delicacy. The same thing I try to put into furniture, though a bit simplified, but there are certain subtle things that you put in there that come out of the understanding of detail.
The day-to-day activities for Robert include fabricating and documenting models that are later blown to more than 200 times the model size.
You make a model that will help you go into understanding the mechanism of working out that thing, the basic joinery, and the general outlook eventually. So you start a small, we call them maquettes. Initially drawing, you make a maquette, then you work out the actual materials, and then you blow it up.
Open to use of a variety of materials, Robert's extensive experience with wood and metal makes his work particularly valuable to his clients and artists interested in sculpting using metal.
Under normal circumstances, when you're working and you know you're going to use a particular design that you worked out during your initial process of drawing, and you conclude on a particular design, if it is workable, you make a template. A template is that first copy, you call it a prototype, that will help you map out several other similar designs for subsequent use. So I get a template, okay, then map it onto another fresh board, okay, and that one is determined by the placement, where you're going to put it. If it is stretchy, then the design has to also stretch, or you adjust the template. But normally templates have to create the same copy, okay, and you place where you're supposed to put it. So you map out on another board with a pencil, then get your points. If you have enclosed parts, then you can use a drill to create a hole, then use a jigsaw to go around. Because the one you saw was more of a concentric and curvilinear pattern, so I had to use a jigsaw. If a template is a bit straight, then you can use a saw. Then you work it out. After shaping it out, you cut out the negatives you don't want. Then you sandpaper the edges. If you have to varnish it, you varnish. If you have to simply place before vanishing, that one depends on where you're going to put it.
Robert doesn't have a piece that he has done and later completely forgets all about it. Each masterpiece for him has its own journey.
He says, like the chair you saw, I think I like it. It's not yet finished, but I'm quite certain the result, the final thing will be magical. I like this table in particular. I did it some time back, but I think it's one of my best.
The perception of the way Ugandans take art has greatly changed from the way it was 5 years ago,
You walk around Kampala or in any place, you won't find this furniture. It is individualized, you won't find it anywhere. So that's the direction I'm trying to take. So that when I go to somebody's home, it is his furniture, not any other body's furniture.
Gardening is an art of growing plants with the goal of crafting a purposeful landscape. Residential gardening most often takes place in or about a residence. Gardening is quickly catching on. Many people explore the beauty that nature possesses.
Having the interest first and the love, and then you have to have a team that you've got to work with, and you've got to come to accept that you've got to have dirty fingers, and in gardening we call them green fingers.
Planting includes specimens that are traditionally part of the African landscape, as well as plants from further afield that will grow in the 3 climatic zones. Betty has created a special rustic path that meanders through the garden, uniting the different climatic zones.
When we import them, we have to look at them and see how is it coping, how is it managing the changes, and you try to, before you bring it in, you try to understand what does it need, what does it require. The ones from South Africa, the thing that we have found in them is that like our soil most of the time is very fertile, especially when they have come in. There are some that we brought in when they are grey and they turn green because of their soil content, and there are some that blossom down in South Africa, and when they come here they don't flower at all. Whereas the ones in Malaysia, they are on the equator, we are on the equator. Like when they come here, they find they're at home, so we don't have a lot of problems.
If you have organized a space for gardening, the next step is to get to grips with gardening basics. Learn about the tools, techniques, and tricks of the trade that will make your garden bloom.
We use cow dung basically because it does a brilliant job and it's easily available, and it's mostly affordable. We can you can use the chemical one, but they're not really good. So if you've done a compound, like it's supposed to mature within 5 months, it would do it in like 2.5-3 months because of giving it, the rapid growth. But the most important thing is that, it must have water. Water, water, water. Once a garden is fully established, we never use a hoe. When you use a hoe, you're cutting down the roots. Whereas if you use a hand fork, you're doing a little bit of damage, but not as much. And then because, like somebody has got to bend down, they're looking at what they're doing, and then they're not hurting the plant. Once they've, picked through, then they put it back and they're seeing it. Whereas with the hoe, you stand up and then you're not seeing what is happening on the ground, and then you need a sakatia, to cut up, like things that are dry. Normally we cut what is dry. We try to encourage people to let the plants to be natural, because like you find that people trim them, and then you find the compound has got like little soldiers.
Bedding plants add an instant splash of color to your garden.
You must have a colorful garden. You're looking for shade, you're looking for beauty, so it is better to have plants that have a flower 365 days, and then if it is your home and you're really a gardener, it's okay, because there are some plants that need a lot of caring, so if you have the time, it's fine. But if, like you're renting out the house, like, you don't have the time, all you need to do is to make sure that you have resilient plants that are manageable, with very, very, small, like tendering, so they have to be colorful first and foremost, because, like you need color throughout the year, so it's, sometimes it's a disadvantage because, if all the color goes out, then you have a dull garden.
There are other small things that you can include in your garden to give it more life.
Waterfalls, the fountains, and we do their garden gnomes. Okay, they haven't picked up, these are figures, of little men, mushrooms, chameleon, things that you just find. And then pots, like empty pots, you find an empty pot and you put it there, and it's it's just there. You see it as a pot against a plant. And then you find sculptures. So the choice is up to somebody else.
You can make a cheap, low-maintenance garden water fountain whose gurgling sound will soothe those frayed nerves when you pull into the driveway after a hard day at work. It's an easy do-it-yourself. First, have a small water garden pump. 2. Buy a preformed plastic pond liner. 3. Buy a plastic outdoor water fountain statuary and tubing. And 4. Get some sand. The sand will come in handy when you attempt to put your pond liner to sit level in its hole. All these can be achieved with a minimal budget, but at the end of the day, it all depends on how much one is willing to dish out for a beautiful garden.
I think the easiest way for somebody to manage and have something that is really nice is for them to give themselves a budget and say, look, this is what I want. Because even the cheapest flower, once you have set it up, is fantastic.
We all enjoy gardens for their color, texture and smells. So why not make your residence a part of nature by gardening? Today on The Flair, we join many others to celebrate an anniversary. There were many performances and amazing couture from some of the renowned fashion designers who pitched their most elaborate evening and creative wares as African Woman launched its first anniversary. Here are the highlights of the night.
Tonight we're celebrating the first anniversary of African Women, and the reason we've managed to come so far is thanks to the support of those who have believed in us.
What shall we do? Since how we do? What shall we do? Since what shall we do? Oh, Toddy. What shall we do? Since what shall we do? Yeah, Toddy. What shall we do? Since what shall we do? Gina wants to say, Kure. Gina wants to say, Kuchengeta rufu mu mawoko. Vaja babata pamboreri pasina rarambo. Vaja patumbuka pamboreri pasina rarambo. Yeah, Toddy. What shall we do? Since what shall we do? Oh, Toddy.
Uganda, Keiga Dance Company is made up of members who do the African dance. The term African dance refers mainly to the dances of Sub-Sahara and West Africa. The music and dances of Northern Africa and the Sahara are generally more connected to those of the Near East. Jonas, the leader of the group, concentrates mainly on culture while covering many ethnic dances, Afro ballet and several other repertoire of dances.
We more in contemporary dance. We do contemporary dance. We create from our own African dances, traditional dances, and put them into contemporary dance to express different stories.
Before starting to choreograph dance moves, the group first goes through a warm-up session in preparation.
We all have specific routines that we know, and if we have a new member, we have to teach those routines because they are good for the warm-up session. And of course, there are other physicals that we have to run through before we start the creation or an usual rehearsal for a piece.
After the warm-up session, Jonas then goes through several dance routines with the group.
I come from the West, and we have a lot of cows, a lot of milk, and this man was a shamba boy, but he wasn't taken like a shamba boy. He was taken like any other member of the family, and he tells a story about how he was treated in this family, and that is what we're trying to express in the first piece that we do. Although it's still works in progress, it's not finished work. There are very many things that we could change, and there are very many things that we would find they don't work with what we want to express.
Dedicated to bridging the gap between ages, races, communities and cultures through dance and music, especially the African dance, Jonas has gone to several festivals in Berlin, Brussels and many West African countries.
As a company, we managed to travel through very many places in Africa, but as a solo dancer, I've participated in very many festivals in Europe. There are quite many, and I've done very many collaborations with different companies abroad and very many cultural exchange activities in Europe as well. I know we still have an audience problem, but somehow we manage it through funds and other tours within Africa and Europe. It takes a long process to create because we have to first do traditional dances and then create from the traditional dances and try to see that what we're trying to express fits in within the story.
The purpose of Keiga is to create, perform and teach dance that reflects the historical experiences and contemporary lives of Africans and to promote the knowledge and appreciation of African and African-derived dances. Traditional dances often don't appear in isolation, but are a part of broader cultural activities like marriages, harvests, spirits, to mention but a few. That's it for this edition of the Art and Design Show. Remember, contemporary art challenges us. It broadens our horizons and makes us think beyond the limits of conventional wisdom. Don't forget, you can throw us mail for comments and suggestions about the show. Our address is art@ntvuganda.co.ug. And join us next week for more. Until then, goodbye.
With a body weight of up to 2 tons, the hippopotamus rivals the white rhinoceros as the second largest living land animal. It averages 3.5 meters long and 1.5 meters tall at the shoulder. Its name means river horse and it's semi-aquatic, inhabiting rivers and lakes in the grassland portions of sub-Saharan Africa. The hippopotamus is recognizable for its enormous barrel-shaped hairless body, big broad head and stubby legs. Even though it's a bulky animal, a hippo runs almost as fast as a human at 30 miles per hour. It's brownish grey on top with a light pink color underneath. The hippopotamus has its ears, nose and eyes positioned on top of its head so it can remain submerged and still monitor what's going on around it. A hippo spends most of its day lazing in the water with its top exposed and occasionally basking on a sandbar. When it submerges, it closes its nostrils and ears so water won't get in. Every 4 to 6 minutes to breathe. The process is automatic, and even a hippo sleeping underwater will rise and breathe without waking. Hippopotami live in herds with the largest pods of up to 100 animals, with one dominant male presiding over a stretch of the river. The hippopotamus is herbivorous and nocturnal. It comes out of the water at night to graze and can eat up to 68 kilograms of vegetation in one night. Female hippos reach reproductive prime at 5 to 6 years of age, while males at around 7.5 years. Mating takes place in the water, with the female submerged for most of the encounter. Hippos have a gestation period of 8 months. The female hippopotamus will go off by herself to have her calf. She will then stay away from the herd for anywhere from 10 to 44 days. A hippo's lifespan is typically 40 to 50 years.
Well, life for everybody is like a roller coaster. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. I mean, you could have woken up this morning on top of the world, but you never really know what's going to happen tomorrow. My point is, you can never really expect what life is going to give you. Same thing with conmen. You can never really know when conmen are going to hit you next. I'm telling you, this is Tricksters. last week on Tricksters. A gossiping secretary met her downfall.
I came here to collect my goods. I paid my money to the boss who was seated there. I even signed those papers. And now this girl is telling me that he was a cleaner.
A cleaner? Sarah, what's going on?
Madam Gladys, the cleaner you sent for the one who took her money.
What was a cleaner doing with the client's money?
And a lost traveler paid for a tour around the city.
Such a short ride for 5,000 shillings? Kakati? Twice here one on. Nungamba, Queen Yasula. Owenda, twetolera bwetolozi.
Musajja wangambye tomanyi kibuga. Mbadde nkulambuza bulambuza. Kiki?
Mpa sente zange. Mpa sente zange.
Tonight, the Tricksters team, Edwin, Albert, Felix, and Ramla, has recruited a new member, Dennis. On last week's show, he proved he has what it takes to be a conman. And tonight, Albert is in charge of Dennis's initiation. You want to know how it goes? Just stay tuned. Tricksters is rolling on your screen. Coming up on the show, street salesmen. How far would you trust them?
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon.
Yes. I'm a photographer.
Really?
The best photographer in town.
Sure. But we are not taking any photos. As you can see, this is not a wedding.
Madam, people don't take photos at weddings only. They take photos when they are happy. Very happy.
Traveling salesman can sell you air.
Nyabo.
Yes, please.
Where is the Indian who sells shoes?
The Indian? There is no Indian in this shop.
So conmen have a very important skill. They're able to entice you into believing you can get the very best for very little. For example, if I was to call all my friends and place $1 million cash on this table and ask them to do something for me, would they trust me? The streets of Kampala are rife with conmen, and even when you think you are safe, their tricks will take you by surprise. Out shopping for a good shoe, Adnan was happy to get a tip which would get him a good deal.
Mugana. Zino ngatto. Zino ngatto. Oziraba?
Zino za mitwalo 5.
Za mitwalo 5?
Mfu. Za mitwalo 2.
Not expensive.
It's expensive, but there is a place where I know where they sell them at 50,000.
Huh? You're kidding? I'm not kidding.
But now it's like this. All you have to do is be sure of the shoe that you want. They take you where it's cheaper. Basasula sente nyingi nnyo mu rent. Awono n'ebintu abalina baziseera
bajjeyo sente zaabwe.
Abayindi batunda bulungi.
Kakati nze njagadde emitwalo 10. So jaba tukola tugende gy'ogambye weye emitwalo 5 tuguleeyo and actually at that price I even buy 2 pairs.
It's okay.
Bwebanga basuna emitwalo 5 it's very cheap. Wakati eyo yenyiwe njagala eyo.
Simanyi nga weyagalanga.
Tugende.
Eri wansi.
Nga teziwa nogwe. Oyagala ngatto.
Weesiikire. Manyiyo. Eno. This is the place.
Okay.
Now, the price I told you is the wholesale price. So I'm sure none of you has a problem
no.
buying a number of shoes.
No,
okay?
no problem.
How many do you want?
For me, 3 pairs.
You want 3 pairs?
Yes.
And
yes.
you?
I only have money for 2 pairs.
2 pairs. So 3, 2, and there's a customer wanted 2 pairs as well. Yeah, no problem. Now, You're going to give me the money, I go inside and I get the shoes. Right? Okay?
Yeah.
But now I cannot go with the two of you.
It's
If the Indian sees me with the two of you, he's going to get suspicious. You see, he knows me because I do business with him. Charge you because he knows the two of you are not doing business.
Actually,
you see,
now he has my money. So what you can do, bring me size 9.
Size 9.
Black in color. And maybe you can change the design actually.
Adnan thinks handed over his money, it must be safe to do the same. After all, those shoes are really good.
Size 9. Okay.
But yeah, black or brown.
Black or brown.
Yeah.
But don't forget the size.
Okay,
Size 9.
Size 9. Yeah. I'll remember that. I'll remember that. No problem. No problem. Okay. Okay. Kakati kanyangwe. Ngene ndabe.
Kale fetukulinze wano.
Kanziji.
Kale.
His initiation on the streets is complete. With Albert's guidance, Dennis has proved himself a worthy conman.
Mkulu je bale. Kale. Ya mali. Ozigbe. Nange ndaba aluddeyo.
You know what, let me go in and find out what is going on.
That is better.
Yeah.
So kati soko checking ebe waja hizo zinze kanje. Nzindu wano muli mbalizi wano mwenna. Nimwangu yangweko
Nyabo.
Yes, please.
Where is the Indian who sells shoes?
The Indian? There is no Indian in this shop.
Madam.
Yes.
There is a gentleman who came in here
Yeah.
to buy shoes. Where has he gone?
Kosawa meka.
Dakika ngabi emabega.
Oyo sinamufunako.
Madam. Ayingidde wano. Muwadde sente zange angulize engatto.
Why don't you call him?
I don't have his number. I don't know even where to find him. Musanze ku street.
Ha, ayinza okuba ayise mbuyisi n'afulumira mu guli omulango oguli emabega wali n'agenda. Bayinza okuba bakubbye. Bambi. Sorry, ng'olabye. Olabika akubbye bambi. Sorry.
Now, this con has been around for years. I'm even surprised it still works. The thing is, the con artists make it seem like you're just about to land the deal of your life. And hey, who doesn't want to make a saving, right? Be careful. Right, I'm taking pictures of the Namguru estate. The thing is, 20 years from now, you don't know if it's still going to be here. One of the best inventions of all time is the camera. Now, they also have digital cameras that give us pictures instantly. And we like to take pictures for purposes of memories and happiness. But there's some unscrupulous people who are giving this brilliant invention a bad name. Have a look.
Freelance photographers have become part and parcel of many social events. At graduation ceremonies, they will be all over the place. At weddings, they are an accepted fact. Even in our neighborhoods, they will move around with their cameras around their necks. Dennis is an estate photographer who makes a living taking people's photographs and sometimes pretending to.
Aveno? Is anybody home?
Yes, how can I help you?
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon.
Yes. I'm a photographer.
Really?
The best photographer in town.
Sure. But we are not taking any photos. As you can see, this is not a wedding.
Madam, people don't take photos at weddings only. They take photos when they are happy. Very happy.
Musajja watu. Tuleke. Dero basanda abantu bawumuddeko.
Madam, you don't know what I can do. I can actually turn an ugly woman into a beautiful princess.
Trying to say I'm ugly?
No, madam, no. You're beautiful. You're as beautiful as a flower. Look at those eyes. If a man looks at those eyes, he won't look at them forever.
Sam, stop flattering me. Go do your business.
At least let me show you what I can do. Look at this picture, madam. You see that lady? That's an old lady. But you can see she's a young girl.
Are you sure?
Yes.
This woman is old?
Yes. Now, look at this one. You're more beautiful than she is.
Are you sure?
Yes. But see how she came out. And I can make a couple come out perfectly. Yes. That's chincho chenyini. Enaku zino ebifaananyi tetubyoza ng'edda. These days okwata ekifaananyi n'okiteeka mu computer n'ekirongoosa bulungi.
Computer?
N'ezo embalabe zonna ne zivaako.
Wamma. Dera yeekubye ebifaananyi naye ebyo byonna ne bivaayo bulungi, embalabe zonna nga zaagenda nga skin yonna eringa ya baby.
Kati kyekyo n'ekirala. Sente zaayo si expensive nnyo. Kati kifaananyi bwe kiti. Kino kitono kiba kya 5,000. Okiteekako bwe mu frame kikuba $1,000. Ate kino kinene bwe kiti kya $1,000 n'ekitundu. Zokka.
Gwe, first wait. Sokolideko. Annette, flow! Bananga, you people come out. Tom, mujje mulabe. Come out. Tom, jango labe. Gwe. Look at this. Look at this wonderful photo.
This is nice.
That man makes these wonderful photos. You look at this photo.
Wow, this is really beautiful.
I think he makes them nice.
Madam, if you took like this one, your boyfriend, you get married immediately.
Are you sure?
Serious?
Send him makeup.
Kati senge. Kano bwe kati. Kana kati. Kabaka 5,000. To add on a frame like that, it's 10,000. And there is a bigger one, a bigger one up to here. That's 15,000. And then for a couple like this one, a couple like that one. See? Now that one is 20,000. Yeah. Yes. That one is okay. Yeah, there, cow. No problem.
Me, I want to sit like this.
Yeah, sit.
Okay.
I'll find you there. No problem. Yeah, in just a moment. Thank you very much. Just sit. I'm coming, madam. Just give me a moment. Yes.
To be a fantastic day for Dennis.
Wow. Yes. Smile. Beautiful.
Maybe she will take
Yes.
Wow, I think you're going to look wonderful.
Wow. In the meantime, now. Hold her.
What's all the excitement about it?
No, the gentleman here is taking photographs.
Would you like yours taken? You go ahead and have your fun.
He even puts in the frame.
I have no time for
tugenda mu mbaga gwe ate mu mbaga kiriwo ekiti ebinaku zino byangu kati bw'osasulira wano ng'enki ebiro mbireeta okuba mutwala oyagalawa wano wera kutaala beera kutaala deposit okay. Yes. Okay.
kakati ngenda acho gambye gumu kati ngenda kwa guno mtwalo ekyawonojo nja kuwa ekitundu eba byokerako kubanga ngenda kuli mu mangu kale mkwano eba weba
And so, Dennis has made his picking after meeting a group of credulous people.
Hey, Shooty, glad you didn't show me the wonderful photos you took last Sunday.
Oh, don't even talk about it. That man took our money and didn't even come back.
What? With all the photographs he took, he must have made a small fortune.
Bambi, Aneta, sente where they are saving it the Christmas.
Bambi.
Yenze Amreta. That man came on his own. You're actually the one who brought that man. But I'm not the one who brought him. You are. Where am
Bambi.
Right. As I take pictures of this gentleman in front of his kiosk, this is what I have to tell you. I can't wholly blame the photographer for that one. This is what you need to do. Either take a picture at a secure photo studio or invest in your own camera. Thank you, man. That's it for now. But before I go, don't forget to send your emails to tricksters@ntv.co.ug. And Bright, my man, what can I say? Thank you for your card. We will be featuring it soon. But sorry for losing your school fees. Ciao for now, people. Catch you next time.
NTV. This is NTV.
The mountain gorilla is considered endangered species, with only about 720 mountain gorillas left in the world. And these live within 4 national parks split into 2 regions: Burundi Impenetrable Forest National Park, Mahinya Gorilla National Park in Uganda, Volcanoes National Park in Rwanda, and Virunga National Park in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The gorilla is the largest of all living primates and has a robust build with long muscular arms, a massive chest, and broad hands and feet. It has longer and darker hair than other species, allowing it to live and travel at high altitudes where temperatures drop to below 0 degrees Celsius. The gorillas can be identified by nose prints unique to each individual. Male mountain gorillas stand up to an average height of 6 feet and weigh from 400 to 500 pounds, that is 227 kilograms, making them the largest of the great apes. Adult males are called silverbacks because they develop a streak of silver hair on their backs with maturity. The silverback is the leader and the ultimate protector of his band. The mountain gorilla is most active between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Most of this time is alternated between foraging, eating, and resting. They are herbivores and consume large amounts of vegetation. Adult male kilograms of vegetation a day, while a female can eat as much as 18 kilograms. Females reach breeding age at about 10 years old. They typically bear young every 4 to 5 years, giving birth after a gestation period of 8 to 9 months. The mountain gorilla is generally shy but highly social and lives in relatively stable, cohesive groups of up to 35 individuals. These groups are made up of one silverback, 1 or 2 blackbacks, a few mature female juveniles, and infants.
This is NTV.
Hello and welcome to Login, where you get logged in and granted access to all the wonderful things in the capital of happening, Kampala. Now, we're counting down the final hours of the decade, and the past 10 years have had its moments, but 2010 has had its own highs and lows. Personally, I find it to have been a rewarding year, and I hope to do even more in 2011. Now, the final days have been quite the journey. We've seen fashionistas like Cayenne, music lovers at the Eagles production show, and NTV's very own Christmas movie. First, fashionistas at Cayenne, where the 3rd edition of Elite magazine was launched.
Well, this magazine, we started in 2009, but most of us were still in school, besides Sean, who was here in Kampala. From that time, we are very young people that are so enthusiastic, and we love what we do right now. So today we are releasing the third issue, and apparently from the comments I've been getting from the readers and whatever, it's much better, depending on considering from how we started. But the fourth edition is going to be way better and a bit more with more content and more quality, and the size is going to increase definitely. Yeah, because now I believe we're getting better and better with what we're doing. Yeah.
I really like the dress code, the way people turned up in big numbers, and everyone smartly dressed. According to the theme of the night, big labels. Go for labels, Gucci, have your Levi's, have your DMG, Dolce & Gabbana, have your Chanel, have all the boots, come on, head to toe. Dressed up and like, yeah, I'm dressed according to the theme of the night, which is labels, fashionista.
Idea just came as a young idea. We believed in doing a magazine that focuses on fashion, that also features men, not only women. So we thought to ourselves we can make a magazine here. So me and my boys just came together. I was able to make a magazine. It wasn't easy at the beginning because we didn't have all the resources, but somehow with faith, we managed to do it. And now it's our third issue. People believe in us, as you can see. We have performances that is doing well by buying the magazines, you can see. Actually, someone just bought all the magazines for tonight. Everybody got a free magazine because one guy just said, I'm buying all of them. So, you can see people love the magazine, yeah? Oh, the challenges are so many because, first of all, photography is on the low side because to get a good photographer down here is very hard. And if you get one, it's very expensive because what makes a magazine is good photographer, right? So it's been a hassle to get a good photographer to do the nice photos, yeah? But along the way, people have been coming up from New York, from everywhere, and they're joining hands with us, not for the money, but for the passion and the love for the art. As you can see, it's a success. Everybody's happy. People sipping on champagne, beautiful cakes, nice ladies, good gentlemen, all dressed in fashion clothes, yeah? So I believe if we continue like this, yeah, the sky is the limit for us.
I'm a fashion icon. I just didn't happen to be here. I was invited to be here. So I also had a performance and it's quite a beautiful event. I'm here on holiday, so
I've been on different covers before. So Sean contacted me and I was more than willing. I think Elite is a very nice magazine, so I was more than willing. So I said yes. The fashion industry is growing. People are getting more creative. I actually wear a lot of Bambi clothes. Starting to respect people who are creative. It's more about creativity at the end of it all. It's about brains and creativity. So the magazines are coming up many. Maybe soon you'll see my own magazine.
Quite the event, don't you think? It does give us a glimpse and put us right on track for next year's styles. And speaking of styles, we'll be right back after the break with various styles of fashion for the Eagles production show. Welcome back from the break. Now, you know, here at Login, we love a good party. And this weekend, we ventured out to Springs in Bugolobi, where the most unlikely of acts to take place in Bugolobi took place. Eagles Production had their show there this weekend, and it was fabulous. Masterminded by Eagles Production, their fans must have appreciated change of location. Take a look.
abafanzi baffe ekivulu bwekiti ekiri abit executive nti baleme kubeera mubiri ebivu bye 15 paka betuuka munaku enkulu tuorganizingako okusho bweti esingako okuzira okuba ennungi.
capital of happening, where we have different events that cater for people from all walks of life, different crowds at different venues. I think it's a charming feature. Now, during the Christmas holidays, I know some people had to go away to the village, other people had to maybe stay home alone or maybe with your friends, but we all had Christmas in Kampala, and at NTV we had a very unique Christmas in Kampala, a family drama comedy that has a more current and up-to-date explanation of those events that are said to have taken place December 25th, all those years ago.
The Lord is
The bright light, did you see it?
Which bright light, man? An end of story? Mary!
God has sent us a king.
I want you to do what you can to stop this.
I'm going to have a baby.
How could you betray me like that? You broke your vow to wait until marriage.
No, Joseph, I did not break my vow. Joseph! Joseph, please! Joseph, please!
What is going on really? What's going on mukisaguno okubamanyisa mwenna. Tiembaga wakati wa Joseph ne Mary mbisazizamu. Bikomyawo.
Christmas is just kind of a recap, let me say, based on the biblical story of the birth of Jesus Christ. But the point of it all is telling the story of Jesus Christ being born in Kampala in the present situation. How would that look like? How would that sound? Yeah, you have all the mess up around. You have the taxis here, Kampala Road, Ginger Road, blah, blah, blah. You have borders here, you have so and so. Now imagine your mighty, holy Jesus Christ born in Kampala. Put it in the present situation. Basically, that's what the story is about.
Mary, this is great news. Thanks be to God to bless us this way. But why didn't you explain all this to Joseph? Because I'm sure he would have acted very differently.
Yeah, I thought about it and I was thinking if Jesus came today, in Mary's womb and all that, it would probably be something like what you saw on screen. So yeah, it was very interesting. I really enjoyed myself. There were difficult moments for me with all the emotions and everything when I had to cry, calling after Joseph, and then the joy moments and all those things. It was, I guess we just pulled through, and yeah, very interesting. I loved Golola Moses, so vibrant, so alive.
Joseph, it was actually mind-blowing, thinking that Mary comes and says, it was through the Holy Spirit that have conceived. On the human side, that is a very difficult thought to deal with. It would break you as a guy. So it challenged me and it got me thinking a lot. It was building. It was also fun, like she was saying. Many of the characters are exciting people.
Action!
Wait for action. Okay, I'm going to tell you.
Switch on your phone. You could have.
Still rolling. Okay, we're still rolling.
Now to tell it all in a kind of a unique manner, that is the biggest kind of cherish that we get out of this film. Because we have a fusion of serious characters, like you said. You have a fusion from the comedy world. You have kind of, it's a really good mix, and it gives you this comic relief in a serious story, okay? But the beauty of it all is like the story is being told to a young person who basically just wants to understand.
Look! Who is that woman? Are you cheating on me?
No. That is Joseph's fiancée. I can never cheat on you. I can never cheat on you. You're the only one in my life. Eh?
You are going to see what this solid woman is made of, by the way.
I know what you're capable of.
Nazi, the bright light. The bright light. Did you see it?
Which bright light, Mary?
Nazi, the angel. There was an angel. The angel told me I'm going to have a baby. Just now, just a few minutes ago.
Mary, my dear sister. No, look here. You do not have to make up an angel story to convince anyone that you're going to have babies. No. Married. That is very normal, my dear. Don't mean that way.
Take me for?
So you want to mean that you have not tasted that forbidden fruit?
Nancy, stop being crude. We agreed to wait until marriage.
Hey. Why would I marry? You're full of stories. I'm even surprised. Mary? Style up.
It's like we put it in the real situation. You're in Kampala today. What do you see in the real daylight? What people experience? It's what we try to kind of like inculcate into the kind of the movie. And to me, that's what gives it this unique kind of approach, because it's contemporary, yes, but it has that holy kind of guiding kind of factor. The storyline is driven alongside the Bible, and it's just basically trying to make an ordinary Ugandan, basically a child, understand what Christmas, what is Christmas.
Sakayana is a first class runner. Whoever tried this must separate in
How dare you sing Rabadaba Mucham? Are you more Mucham than King Herod? King Herod is the king of Bacham. Katinyakalo demo yimbe ugambenti. King Herod Mucham, King Herod Mucham, King Herod Mucham, King Herod Mucham. DJ run that one.
And then you would see everybody else is sleeping. The crew is like, okay, when do we get to go home? And I know this is just getting too much. When is the bloody thing going to end? And this kind of thing. But yeah, I think it was a challenge for them. Like it was a challenge for me, but I would say I'm not judging for them, but most likely they enjoyed what they did. With the end result that people are saying thumbs up to, I'm pretty sure they are kind of happy.
No, Mary, let's go. I can't let you stay.
Joseph, we can't.
Obviously, let's no.
Joseph, we can't leave. The babies.
Let's go.
naye nga amawulire ge twakafuna kaakati ge g'omwana Yesu Kristo azaaliddwa e Kampala. Omuntu waffe atubuulidde nti abantu bonna mu kibuga banyamaalidde era nga beewuunya, naye ng'okusinga byonna basanyufu olw'amawulire gano.
The raving reviews do not do this movie justice. I mean, kings holding iPads, Mary with labor pains, and instead of donkeys, these guys were using taxis. I could go on and on about the various highlights, but we do not have enough time. Now, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll have Hearsay. It is the season of giving, and one artist who took this to heart was Bebe Cole. Proskovia Namusisi, a 9-year-old girl with mouth cancer, was admitted to Mulago and was readmitted after she developed complications following the removal of a tooth that failed to heal. On Boxing Day, Bebe pledged to dedicate his concert at Chihuatule to the girl's cause. He mobilized all her medical bills from fellow artists, friends, and politicians. Speaking of politicians, the musician's father, Mr. Jaberi Bidani Sali, who is a presidential candidate, attended the concert, despite Bebe being on the campaign trail for the ruling party. Hip-hop's golden boy Navio has a lot to celebrate this year. Apart from being part of 1/8, one of the biggest musical projects in history between Africa and the US, he's also a brand ambassador for Airtel. The financial gain must have been tremendous because Daniel Chigozie is now a proud homeowner in Lavoa. We're sure hip-hop fans will be migrating to the area since the December date for the launch of his new album, African Hustler Music, was cancelled and a new date has not been announced. Will there be a launch? Talib Kweli was thrown out of an after party for his own listening event after he got into a fight with his wife DJ EQ. Sources say EQ flew into a rage and launched herself at Kweli after she spotted him flirting with other women at the bash. Kweli had made a joke thanking the sponsor Hennessy for paying for his wedding in 2009, saying otherwise he would not have gotten married. Ouch. You might remember Leanne Rimes from that, and Eddie Cibrian, famous for his role as Cole in Sunset Beach. Well, the two will be walking down the aisle very soon. After much speculation and several denials over the last few months, country singer and the actor have finally announced their engagement. The couple spent the Christmas holidays at home in Los Angeles, surrounded by family and friends, and told them of their impending nuptials. Rams was first spotted out in public wearing her ring on Monday, when she and the 37-year-old fiancé headed down to the beach in Malibu. Alright people, thank you for watching the last show of the year, the last show of 2010. I'm your host Susan Nava, and Bagalizo Mwako Mulunji. And from all of us here at Login, Happy New Year!
This is NTV.
Coming up.
I'll get it.
There is nothing impossible if you have a hero inside. New Omo Multi-Active. It's max clean particles, remove tough, dried-in stains in one swift step.
You my hero.
Omo, dirt is good.
Tomorrow night, brought to you by
I love you, Africa. I love you, yeah.
One, two, three, speak.
Laura, immediately on the floor, there is a priority case.
Please, come on, you people.
What's happening here?
We had no pulse, but his blood pressure is...
What's the blood pressure?
Laura?
Come on.
How many times have I told you to conduct your experiments in your laboratory?
Lola, I know that life has been very tough on you.
If you want to succeed in business, you must have financial behavior. You shouldn't mix your business money with personal money.
Tomorrow night on NTV.
Africa, and us. I love you, Africa. I love you, Africa. I love you, Africa. I love you, yeah. I love you, Africa. I love you, Africa.
This is NTV. 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 This is NTV.
We have taken a step because we had already warned them not to emit gases into the public.
Mukwano shut down.
KCCA closes factory over alleged environmental pollution.
KCCA once again strikes and goes for one of the biggest industrialists in the country.
Mukwano Industries' premises were shut down by KCCA officials in an early morning raid that caught many by surprise.
So is KCCA finally standing up to the big boys, hitherto seen as untouchables?
Well, we would like to hear what you have to say on this matter, so be sure to contribute on tonight's NTV poll.
Good evening, it's Wednesday, the 23rd day of May 2012, and a very warm welcome to this edition of NTV Tonight.
Let's now have a look at the rest of the headlines.
Those who shall not comply with the law, they will be closed out.
Another fuel station crackdown imminent. Public Accounts Committee directs Energy Ministry to shut non-compliant stations down.
Also tonight, the refugees influx. Government blames insurgency and communal clashes in neighboring countries.
And beware, what you see may not be what you get, especially among urban women.
Thank you for joining us. This is NTV Tonight. I am Gabriel Epeno.
And I am Rachel Ainitwe. Now, the factory of one of Uganda's leading manufacturing companies, the Mukwano Group, has been closed by the Kampala Capital City Authority for reportedly polluting the environment.
The scores of the factory's workers were left pondering their next fate as KCCA law enforcement officers ordered them out of the premises.
Mukwano's chief executive officer says the company has immediately embarked on rectifying the smoke emission and blamed the closure on what he called miscommunication between KCCA officials and the Mukwano Group.
Chris Ochamringa reports.
Dozens of KCCA law enforcement officers stormed the Mukwano Group of Companies headquarters this morning to close its factory for reportedly failing to comply with the Public Health Act.
Are you obstructing justice? We are not obstructing. What are you doing? It is only just that I see we are waiting for our seniors. Should we call it double standards?
The closure took hundreds of factory workers by surprise, with a number of them lamenting their fate.
They had
been given a notice twice in the month of March from our public health department, but they refused to comply. We have closed them because of air pollution. There are schools behind this factory, and the pollution was getting worse and worse.
The Mukwano Group Chief Executive Officer Tony Gadoke says the shutdown was unfortunate and a result of poor communication between his staff and the KCCA officials.
We undertook the first phase of that activity, which was raising our chimney stacks on one side of the boiler section. And the next step, if it was necessary, was planned to take place in June. Unfortunately, I think there was a bit of a lack of communication, maybe from our side or from our consultant side, that the information was not clarified to KCCA. But we will now take these steps immediately. We will not wait for the June holidays.
But KCCA's Health Inspector John Lule also faults the manufacturing company for not adhering to proper waste disposal methods.
We also realized there's some discharge from the factory which was going into the stormwater channel. This is also bad. We need, first of all, them to rectify these problems, and we shall need a clearance from NEMA.
We do not allow waste to evacuate into the channel.
The Mukwano Group of Companies is one of Uganda's leading manufacturing companies that deals in consumer goods and is among the top 10 biggest taxpayers.
The closure of this huge factory has affected about 500 workers from the manufacturing department, but the KCCA officials maintain that this is the beginning of its efforts to crack the whip on factories that do not comply with its health and safety standards. Chris Ochamringa, NTV, Kampala.
We draw our NTV poll question tonight from that story. We would like to hear from you on the issue. We are asking, do you support the decision by KCCA to shut down Mukwano industry over environmental pollution concerns? I repeat, do you support the decision by KCCA officials to shut down Mukwano industries over pollution concerns?
All right, to have your say, text your comment to 8778, starting with a yes or no, followed by your comment, and we will be receiving some of those and reading some of them out during this newscast and give you the final poll result. Meanwhile, the Public Accounts Committee has directed the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Energy to shut down fuel stations in the city that have not complied with the environmental impact assessment procedures. The committee is concerned that out of 25 approved fuel stations in the city, only 3 meet the required standards. Hilary Yesiga has the details of that story.
The number of mushrooming fuel stations in the city is raising concern among members of parliament who sit on the Public Accounts Committee. And what is more disturbing is the non-compliance to the said standards of environmental impact assessment.
These petrol stations are now mushrooming everywhere, contrary to the law. There are those ones in the wetlands, there are those in the settlement areas, there are those where they are not supposed to be located, and they are not even complying with the law.
This situation is even compounded by the stations overcrowding in a single area, which the MPs believe is a recipe for disaster.
Look at the place in Banda. There is Haas, there is Toto, there is Shell, there is whatever, there is everything. If there was an outbreak of fire, where would be the escape route? There is no escape route.
The committee also expressed concern that some of these illegal fuel stations sell adulterated fuel.
Someone who gets a small car, he goes to a petrol station, then he goes to go and sell also on a small pump somewhere. The quality of fuel is being there.
In order to regulate this business, the members tasked the permanent secretary to shut down fuel stations which do not meet the required standards.
They said they must give us a list of all the petrol stations and the proof that they complied with the law. Those which are not complied with the law, they will be closed out.
However, this will not be the first time the ministry is cracking down on fuel stations that do not meet the required standards. 2 weeks ago, the ministry swung into action and closed a number of fuel stations that had not complied with the set laws. Hilary Isga, NTV.
The Health Ministry has announced a mass measles and polio campaign and drug administration for river blindness. The campaign will be launched this Saturday, the 26th of May in Padey district, but immunization will be carried out across the country from Saturday this weekend to Monday the 28th. The campaign is aimed at curbing the increasing cases of measles and river blindness. Here is Josephine Karunji with that.
Take all your children for immunization on Saturday 26th, Sunday 27th, and Monday 28th.
In December last year, the Ministry of Health announced a national measles outbreak in eastern, central and western Uganda. 11 districts were cited then, but that number has now grown to 46 districts including Kampala. Reports indicate over 5,200 cases and 33 deaths. The problem, it seems, is the increase in numbers of unimmunized children whose parents have not taken them to health centers.
The Ministry of Health wishes to assure the public that the vaccines for immunization against the vaccine-preventable diseases are effective and safe and have been approved by the World Health Organization.
The campaign is targeting about 6.9 million children in Uganda, keeping in mind that Uganda has over time become a haven for refugees from other areas in the Great Lakes region.
Of course, the measles vaccine doesn't know which country you come from, and as long as a child is in Uganda, we immunize all those children.
Measles is an acute viral respiratory illness associated with high fever, rashes and vomiting, and it is considered one of the most deadly vaccine-preventable diseases, accounting for an estimated 777,000 childhood deaths per year worldwide, with more than half occurring in Africa. The ministry insists that immunization is free. And with river blindness, the ivermectin drug will be administered.
We need to do treatment of onchocerciasis, and if possible we control the vector. That's why we are doing mass treatment of onchocerciasis with ivermectin.
This drug kills the young stages of the worm.
River blindness is transmitted from person to person through a bite of uninfected female black fly. It is common in 35 districts in Uganda, where more than 3 million people are at risk. It is also associated with the nodding syndrome, which has affected over 3,000 children in 3 districts of northern Uganda. Josephine Karunji, NTV.
Now, over 60 Al-Shabaab soldiers, who include top commanders, have been killed in the ongoing offensive against the Islamic militia by the African Union peacekeeping force in Somalia. AMISOM contingent commander Brigadier Paul Lokech says the operations that started early today have seen the Al-Shabaab militia driven out to the northern outskirts of Mogadishu. Now, we earlier spoke on phone with our reporter Frank Walusimbi, who is embedded with the African Union troops in Somalia.
Contingent Commander Brigadier Paul Lokech said by midday today they have killed about 60 Al-Shabaab fighters, including one of the top commanders who has not been availed yet. Today in the morning hours I saw the body of the commander lying near another of the man thought to be his guard at a place which is about 11 kilometers away from Afgoye, where the operation is headed to. The operation started yesterday in the morning hours. Afgoye, where AMISOM is heading to now, there are about 400,000 people living there, and AMISOM thinks it is important to liberate them from Al-Shabaab. The deputy head of the mission here, Wafula Munyinyi, was telling me yesterday that Afghan holds one of the biggest concentrations of internally displaced people. He stressed that AMISOM is taking every precaution to prevent harm or injury to civilians. Afghan, if liberated by AMISOM, the other major positions of the Al-Shabaab that are going to be sealed off, for example, Kismayo, Baidoa, Joa, and Marka. Towards the north of Somalia, major routes that could have been used by the Al-Shabaab have been cut off at a place called Masra. Masra is about 15 kilometers away from where Mogadishu ends. Currently, operations are done in a close to jungle terrain, which AMISOM is finding easy to fight the enemy. It is expected that humanitarian services will start to reach the people of Afghan in a few days to come.
Frank Walusimbi reporting there from Mogadishu. The latest influx of refugees into Uganda from the Democratic Republic of Congo and Southern Sudan has been blamed on insurgency, inter-communal clashes and cattle rustling. The Minister for Disaster Preparedness, Relief and Refugees, Stephen Malinga, in a press release revealed that there is a total of 12,361 refugees already resettled in the country and another 6,341 from Nyakabande awaiting resettlement. As Agnes Nandutu reports, the government is seeking the intervention of the international community and the African Union in resolving the crises in the region that have led to displacement.
The country is experiencing an influx of refugees from the neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo and Southern Sudan due to a persistent insurgency, intercommunal clashes and cattle rustling. According to the statement from the Ministry of Disaster Preparedness, Relief and Refugees, 12,361 refugees have already been resettled in the country. Nakivar refugee camp has 2,992 refugees, 3,185 at Oruchinga. Chaka 2 has 1,949 and Ramanya camp 5,232 refugees. Disaster Preparedness Minister Stephen Malinga also states in a press release that 6,341 registered refugees from Nyakabanda are also awaiting resettlement, while 1,700 from Southern Sudan have been received in Ajman district. Malinga states that this influx has been caused by persistent intercommunal clashes and cattle rustling between the Malur and Luo in Jongalai state, with women and children mostly affected. While the ministry, in conjunction with Red Cross, UNHCR and Uganda Police, are doing everything to transport, protect and provide relief to the refugees, government is calling upon the international community to facilitate humanitarian agencies mandated to offer assistance and protection. Regional initiatives under the East African Community and the African Union have also been sought to intervene and resolve the underlying causes leading to the problem of refugees in the region. Agnes Nandutu, NTV Tonight.
Let's now take a peek at what you can expect in just a few moments when we return after this short break. On NTV Connect tonight, we examine the role of Muslims in shaping the American culture.
And in business, Uganda Revenue Authority collects less tax than projected.
NTV Tonight continues after this break. Do stay tuned.
This is NTV. NTV. This is 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 NTV.
And some of your responses. Tonight we ask, do you support the decision by KCCA to shut down Mukwano over environmental pollution concerns? I repeat, do you support the decision by KCCA to shut down Mukwano over environmental pollution concerns?
Well, so far 72% of our respondents think that KCCA was right in shutting down the factory, while 28% of our respondents don't agree.
All right, we have some of your comments. We'll sample those even now. Someone here saying, no, it wasn't right because they had to warn them first. Where will the 500 workers get someone to feed their families?
Orichiriza Joshua, you say that's the cost we have to pay for sustainable development. Congratulations, Madam Musisi, you are doing a good job.
All right, keep your comments coming. The number is 8778. Start with a yes or no and leave your comment as well as your name and where you're texting from. We'll be sure to read some more and give you the final poll result at the very end.
Now, the Omukama of Bunyoro Kingdom, King Gafawusa Iguru, is threatening to sue the government for allegedly tampering with Bunyoro mineral resources without consulting the kingdom.
Iguru told the Parliamentary Oil Probe Committee that oil companies could be operating illegally on his land.
The Omukama cited the 1956 agreement his forefathers signed with the colonialists that bars anybody from tampering with Bunyoro resources without the king's consent.
Simmering tensions have been mounting in the Bunyoro region ever since the Parliamentary Probe Committee visited the exploration area 3 days ago. Kingdom officials and locals are angry with the government for what they call neglect of their region on issues of oil exploration.
They have not consulted us, they have not used us. That is why this project is very grateful that we have come here. Because we have the information, the people come here tell the king.
The Omukama of Bunyoro Kingdom, King Gafawusa Iguru, today warned that he would sue the government of Uganda for tampering with Bunyoro mineral resources without consulting him. King Iguru told the probe committee chairman Michael Werike this morning that the oil companies could be operating illegally on his land without his authority.
Nobody should come to Bunyoro Kingdom to do anything, even to acquire the land without consulting Bunyoro Kingdom. And it was signed. And we have copies of those. We have all the copies, yes. You see. So those people who are down there are illegal. If we take them to court, to international court, they are not supposed to be there.
the king is citing the 1955 agreement his forefathers signed with the British colonial government as the basis for his case. The agreement bars anybody from tampering with Bunyoro resources until the king gives his consent.
Before you really talk about oil, you must talk to His Highness, the king of...
And that was the 1955 agreement.
Yes.
It was never done. We were supposed to be consulted. That was 1955 agreement. It is still valid.
Or with the colonial people?
Yes.
However, legal minds urge that the colonial agreement was nullified by Uganda's constitutions that were drafted after independence. In 2001, the Omukama attempted to sue the British government but was advised against it because it was feared the act would have reduced Uganda's chances of hosting the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Kampala. King Yuguru is demanding to interact more with the legislators so that the historical injustices that he says were caused by colonialists in Bunyoro are settled once and for all.
And I would like this information to go through Parliament, so that people can know.
Earlier, the king demanded that the 12% of royalties from the oil and gas sector be remitted to his kingdom.
We don't know. A lot of things have not been done properly. The kingdom was supposed to, in the olden days, was getting royalty. There is no royalty anymore.
Meanwhile, the committee today met Bunyoro members of parliament together with civil society groups and accused security officials of labeling them as rebels with the intention to sabotage the oil project.
We request for a 10% share of the oil revenues to be shared amongst the regional government and the district local governments.
The local leaders and the city organs have gone ahead to make reports to the office of the president that we are recruiting rebels, which is not true.
Tempers on oil matters in Bunyoro seem to be high, and the community feels that they have been denied a chance to participate in their God-given resource. This calls for government intervention before the situation gets out of hand. Jingo Francis, NTV, Hoima, in Bunyoro.
Now, interestingly, many people would assume that when it comes to such sensitive body parts like the hips, you either have them or you don't. But now there's a middle ground, and it is big business. Urban women are now flocking beauty shops to purchase what you can only call fabulous fakes or hip enhancers. And as NTV's Jen Gray reports from the Kenyan capital, Nairobi, the users have absolutely no apologies to make.
On the streets, they strut around in tight-fitting trousers or skirts, drawing attention to the posterior features. Indeed, for many people, body shape is the ultimate measure of beauty. But now there is a new vogue in town. If you can't get real hips, just buy some. At a designer outlet in the CBD, we come across this undergarment shop, and what they sell here is not your regular pieces of clothing. They call them bum and hips enhancers, and they are displayed for all who care to peep. Yes, this is the latest hindwear that is supposed to give you the perfect curve that makes heads turn. The enhancers are padded to create the impression of just a little bit more flesh and muscle in all the right places. But just how exactly do you wear this fanciful garment?
It has a pocket where you're supposed to put on the pads. Just make sure it's in balance with both sides. So once it's fitted on, it gives such a shape.
But Joy says there is more where this came from.
So this is what we call a silicone enhancer. It's different from the pad enhancer because this is like sponge, it's padding, but this is silicone, more or less like flesh. This is not just a bum enhancer, just it adds up the bum. If you can see, it gives it a round, good shape around. And this is the hip and bum enhancer. It also gives you a round shape and an even shape. It's not like one, you have both, you have the bum and the hip enhancer.
But just when should they be worn?
Maybe you see your wedding, it's your wedding day, or you're attending a wedding, or you have an evening. That is the best ideal time. Or when you're wearing jeans, also ideal fitting jeans, like us ladies we do with stars and pencils. then it's the best time to wear it.
And as we continue with our story, a client walks in, but for reasons you will understand, we will not reveal the face. But Joyce illustrates to us using one of the clients just how these rare garments are worn.
Yeah, something like that. You can see she's a bit small on the hip.
And after a few minutes, bingo!
As you see her walking up and down the streets, you cannot tell what she's wearing. We also have some men who also come over to pick for their ladies. Maybe they feel they want to just excite the women in their lives, and they're happy with that.
And don't you imagine it is just 1 or 2 clients trickling in.
In a week we sell like 60 of this, both combined. Either it's a hip enhancer or it's just the bum enhancer, either of them.
With such high demand, we are left wondering just how much of what you see on the street is real and just how much is fake.
It's projecting an image that is actually not the case. So I definitely feel cheated.
I don't like the idea, but again, we're women, everybody wants to do what they want to do, everybody wants to improve the insecurity about their bodies.
Mtu anafaa kujipenda vile yuko. The way you are, the way you're created, you're just lovely the way you are.
As strange as it may seem, the bum and hip enhancers have penetrated the market and have now become one of the most fashionable garments, a favorite for many. Sociologists say the craze may be down to something very African.
You look at the reaction when people are walking in the street, you look at where people are looking at in the African context, that's going to be exactly it. So I think it's just a symbol. I think it could be the symbol of femaleness, you know, or womanhood, you know.
While most of us have doubts about these artificial body parts, Joyce has no apologies to make.
Like, we understand there are so many creams that are sold around, so many pills you're given to just swallow, but this is natural. This is just a wash and wear affair. You just wear it and you look good. You're not wearing it. There's nothing you can go to the doctor and say I wore this and one side started swelling up or something.
And as the pursuit of beauty heats up, there is no telling what body part will be enhanced next. Jean Gueri, NTV.
With 60 pieces being sold every week, that is definitely big money for that shop owner there with those artificial hips and bums.
They're called enhancers. You don't say
hip enhancers.
Yeah.
I would have called them fake if I was to be a bit radical. Joel, good business for those fellows in Kenya.
A very good business, because what she was saying, they sell 60 a week.
Yeah.
That's 240 a month.
240 a month.
So we have 240 women working with this thing, enhancers in the streets in a month.
Enhancers. I wonder if it's...
No, Rachel, I'd like to ask you a question. I thought it was the hair, the eyelashes, the nails.
Well,
now
it looks like
hips
it's
and
stretched to hips and backsides and anything that can be faked.
And the list goes on and on and on.
So what next?
Is it to bring us NTV business, Joe?
Well, tonight in business, Uganda Revenue Authority's hope of wiping out its revenue deficit have been dampened by the low economic activity in international and domestic trade in the month of April. I will be giving you this and more stories in NTV Business. Up next.
If emissions like this continue, people are likely to develop some problems like lung cancer and others. So we have taken a step, because we had already warned them not to emit gases into the public.
This is NTV. This is NTV. This is NTV.
Good evening, I am Joel Kamadi and welcome to NTV Business. Uganda Revenue Authority's hope of wiping out its revenue deficit have been dampened by the slow economic activity in international and domestic trade in the month of April. The revenue deficit, which comes 2 months to the end of the financial year, remains at 44 billion shillings as high interest rates continue stifling business activity. Samuel Setumba has more.
Of the just over 6 trillion shillings that Uganda Revenue Authority must collect this financial year, they still have a shortfall below target up to this point of 44 billion shillings. Their predicament is worsened by the continued general slowdown of the economy.
The volume of fuel declined, so the volume of cars registered also declined. Generally, the month of April was slow. We noticed slow business.
The problem also stems from central bank's monetary policy, and if this is what the central bank intended, it is working, but along with it, revenue underperformance.
Usually taxes are paid using bank loans. So with tightening monetary policy and high interest, that's why we have the big buildup of stocks in the bond.
If you're looking for a sign of a real slowdown in the economy, the tax collection numbers provided. April 2012 shows a revenue deficit in domestic and international taxes, with items like vehicles and fuel importation showing a decline. Therefore, the URA has 2 months to clear up the 44 billion shillings revenue deficit. Samuel Setumba, NTV Business.
Now, a capacity survey on the East African community in the service sector reveals a potential worth over 80% of GDP, a scenario that could surpass trade in products. The survey conducted by the Allied Chamber of Commerce, however, notices that the absence of supportive policies has limited the ability of East African firms to tap into this potential and has thus limited their growth. Reno John has the details.
A new study on developing services export promotion platform for the East African region has been released in Kampala this morning, with the private sector being assured that room to undertake services could constitute well above 80% of GDP.
We are trying from the private sector perspective to see how we can bring some of the challenges up and then bring them to the policymakers to see how they can improve the business environment in which people operate.
Kenya, with a much developed service sector through its National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, says that Uganda and the rest of the East African Community member states need to consider joint ventures in reaping from the telecoms, banking, insurance and education sectors.
So that we can be able to encourage not Ugandan with the knowledge they have in the service sector to coexist within themselves. There's opportunity in Kenya, there's opportunity in Tanzania, they can explore it. And that's what I think, before even we think of the federal integration, the business integration is what will build the federal integration.
On the other hand, Burundi, a top reform on ease of doing business according to the latest World Bank findings, admits that given its limited industry and trade base, the service sector offers a niche.
So we are expecting to gain a lot of information. We are expecting to gain experience on how it's being done. We are far, but I consider it as an opportunity because we can copy from what they did and make it better.
Because of the agenda itself of the service, we see there is a big opportunity for East Africans to integrate through these services.
Reina Ogen, NTV Business.
Finally, in NTV Business, the absence of systems to support business sustainability and continuity after the demise of proprietors is a key factor behind the collapse of many business entities in the country. The Top 100 Medium-Sized Companies Forum and Survey, an initiative of Daily Monitor and KPMG, held today in Kampala, also had that while creating major brands may be challenging, sustaining them has proven harder for Uganda's case.
In my view, one of the biggest challenges for business operators today in Uganda, especially when your business has built a brand name, is now ability to privatize the way you run that enterprise. What I mean is, how do you now build systems, build in corporate governance aspects build in the aspects of a strong team and generate an entity that can live whether you are around or you are not around. If you do not manage to achieve that, your business is a bondage or is enslaved to the owner. In other words, the day you are not around, things grind to a halt. So what I want people to learn is to appreciate that to generate an enterprise that grows beyond you, you must respect systems, you must create a team, you must generate a direction and let people begin to go there.
And that winds up NTV Business Tonight. Back to you, Gabriel and Rachel.
All right, thank you very much, Joel. Now we'll get into our sport, and tonight we focus our attention on the Uganda Cranes residential training. Join me for all the details and so much more in NTV Sport right after the break.
This is NTV. 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 This is NTV.
Joining us for NTV Sport. Now, Uganda Cranes striker Geoffrey Massa is a doubt for forthcoming international engagements after the player was forced to withdraw from the camp to nurse a recurring knee injury. Massa was part of a group of professional players who reported on day one of the Cranes preparation for Angola on June 2nd.
Geoffrey Massa is ruled out of the Uganda Cranes games coming up next month following a knee injury. Despite reporting early for the team's training on Monday, the striker did not attend today's training at the Mandela National Stadium. He is reportedly flying back to Cyprus for surgery this Friday. His counterpart Mude Musa also stayed out of today's training, citing a simple knock. Mude is expected to train with the team tomorrow. Sudan-based Mike Mutiaba, who was supposed to arrive in the country this week, has also been ruled out with an injury. Mutiaba picked up the injury during El Meriki's league game last weekend.
You still get a problem, and you need to get treatment on that. It may take a bit of time. I'm not 100% sure that he'll be available for our Angola match, but as I said, that's why we named 30 players, because these things happen in football. People pick up injuries, they get illnesses.
The long list of injured players might force coach Bob Williamson to invite strikers Hamis Diego Chiza and Geoffrey Salunkuma. the two had been left out of the 30-man team. Sam Poza, NTV Sport.
Now, umpires have been urged to guard the rules of pool to ensure fair play during the forthcoming Uganda Open to start in 60 venues next weekend. The participating officials in a refresher course were placed at the forefront of guarding the integrity and members as a whole, as Alfred Odong reports.
With as many as 5,000 players expected to take part in this year's Uganda Pool Open, the game's national governing body is in high gear preparing the umpires to officiate in the competition that starts in Nakawa this weekend.
And this is a foul. Let me try to show you this. Umpire, you are not supposed to advise.
These are 20 elite enforcers of the rules of the game now in a one-day refresher session aimed at ensuring harmony during the 3-month event.
But we're also giving them other skills, skills like crowd control in case things don't work out well, management of expectation in terms of, players themselves. Because when a player plays and they get disappointed, sometimes people tend to take different reactions. So we're also giving them enough skills to handle that, and of course, handling the venue and working properly to make sure that the PR for the association and the PR for our sponsor are maintained and given the credibility they deserve.
The championship to conclude on the 25th of August will also have the most impressive players selected for national team engagements. Umpires will be up to make a mark in all the 60 venues so as to be considered to officiate in international tournaments. This is one of the several training and refresher courses yet to come to ensure that these umpires become good enough to officiate at national, regional and international competitions. Alfred Odong, NTV Sport.
Thank you, Alfred. Now, a total of 2,500 people have reportedly registered for the 4th edition of the Harriet Source of the Nile Marathon due this Sunday in Jinja. Now, elite athletes from Uganda, Kenya and Ethiopia will use the marathon to prepare for this year's Olympic Games due in London this July. Top national athletes including Jane Suto, Irene Chemosto and Geoffrey Kusulo are among the local participants registered for the event. Participants will take part in the 21 and 10-kilometer races. In international sport, Didier Drogba has joined the Olympic torch relay with thousands turning out to cheer the Ivorian in a build-up to the launch of the Olympic Games in July. And England announces plans to tour India with Test, T20 and one-day international cricket games lined up for the bragging rights contests.
Thousands of people turned out to cheer on former Chelsea striker Didier Drogba as he carried the Olympic torch through Swindon. The Ivory Coast captain carried the Olympic flame on day 5 of the torch's journey around the UK ahead of the opening ceremony in London on the 27th July. In Formula 1, Spanish Grand Prix winner Pastor Maldonado sees no reason why he cannot continue his good form in Monaco next weekend. The Venezuelan took his maiden victory at the Circuit de Catalunya on Sunday. In cricket, England's tour of India this winter will include 4 tests, 5 one-day internationals, 2 2020 games. The squad will embark on 3 days of training in Dubai on the 25th of October before flying to India 5 days later.
Residence down, trouble, Bravo was involved with a run out, gone, brilliant.
In golf, Luke Donald believes regaining the world #1 spot is secondary to retaining his PGA Championship title. Donald topped the rankings for the first time by winning the same tournament last year and stayed there until Rory McIlroy also in the field supplanted him in March.
And that winds up NTV Sport for tonight. Thanks for watching. We now bring you Thursday's weather forecast.
And now let's take you back to tonight's NTV poll, and we asked you, do you support the decision by KCCA to shut down Mukwano industry over environmental pollution concerns? Thank you so much for all of your responses. The final poll result stands thus: 70% of you are saying yes, KCCA was right, while 30% of our respondents tonight disagree.
All right. Thank you so much for all your responses. Let's quickly sample some of those even now.
Kamurasi Brian, you say yes, it was long overdue. All factories actually need to be checked. Well done, KCCA.
All right, we've got Beatrice in Rubaga saying no, there are many other factories in a worse situation. Why Mukwano only?
And Ndahura Miles Kenneth, you say the juice is worth the squeeze if it is good for the environment.
All right, we've got Gloria in Nansana saying yes, the soap fumes are sickening, and so KCCA was right to shut down the company.
Well, thank you so much once again for all of your responses. Please do keep contributing to our NTV poll questions on NTV Tonight. Thank you so much for watching NTV Tonight. It marks the end of this bulletin. I'll be back at 11:30 for NTV 11. I'm Gabriel Epeno.
I am Rachel Initwe. Have a great night.
This is NTV. 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 This is NTV.